Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are focusing in on the following essential questions. We're going to look at number 1, how do readers know what to believe? Number 4, what is informational text really about? And number 5, how does interaction with text provoke thinking and response? Today we're close reading the story always, or the informational text, always wanting more. When we close read, we read it 3 times. First, for what the text says. As you read this small paragraph excerpt from the beginning of Always Wanting More for what the text says, we're going to focus on, in phase 1, reading the text to create an objective summary. Remember, when we create an objective summary of the text, we are focusing on learning target number 5, to create an objective summary of the text. Remember, when you make an objective summary, you're making a restatement of the most important points of the text without adding personal opinions. You're only including the facts. You also don't include text evidence in a summary. You put it in your own words. After we're done with reading the text the first time in the first phase for what the text says, we're going to reread it a second time for how the text says it. As you reread the text for how the text says it, you want to look at the word choice used by the author. So for phase 2, I want you to think about the impact that the word choice has on the tone of the paragraph and to cite text evidence to support your response. When we look at the word choice in the tone used by the author, we're focusing on learning target number 23. Learning target number 23 says the following. To analyze the impact of specific word choice on the tone. That means to look closely at the effect or impact specific words used by the author in a given sentence have on the feeling or attitude or tone of the text. When we look at tone, remember that we want to pick a fancy adjective to describe the tone, because tone describes the attitude of the author when we look at the writing and the word choice use. Tone can be positive, negative, or neutral, and it can change throughout the text. For this particular phase, I'm asking that you use one of my tone words. And in fact, in this case, all 3 tone words actually work in this paragraph. The 3 words I've given you are the words amused, sarcastic, and ironic. All 3 words represent a tone in the piece. I would recommend that you look up each word before you decide on the tone or attitude that you think is most able to be recognized in a sentence of this piece. Once you pick the word, remember to begin with this sentence starter. Follow that sentence starter by filling in the blank with one of the tone words, and then continue it with that cited sentence, that cited piece of text evidence that you think best represents that tone, whether you picked amused, sarcastic, or ironic in tone. After you pick your evidence, please make sure that in your analysis section that you explain how you see that amused, sarcastic, or ironic tone through the specific words used in that sentence and why you think they give off that attitude that you think those words give off. In the last phase, we're going to read for why the text matters. As we read through this one final time and we read for why the text matters, we're going to look at the following question. Based on the information in the section, how does consumerism impact people? Cite evidence to support your response. In this phase, we are looking at learning target number 3. With learning target number 3, we're looking at the interaction between 2 specific skills in the text. In this case, we're going to look at the interaction between consumerism and people. So for learning target number 6, you're analyzing the interactions between individuals, events, and ideas in the text. As I said, we're looking at individuals and the idea of consumerism. Remember, as we look and analyze for learning target number 6, you're going to look closely at the relationships and connections between people and consumerism. Okay, so when we think of the word consumerism, that's sort of a new vocabulary word, but that really, in this case of the paragraph, is meaning the ability to buy a lot all the time, the ability to have access to lots of products at a small price point. That's what we're thinking about when we talk about consumerism in the case of this question. So go ahead and complete this close read today, looking at what the text says, how the text says it, and why the text matters. Go ahead and get to work.